We just talked about them just because that was the big takeaway of that great ceremony that took place. And cool to see the current team in the uniforms with those players there. Really good stuff. But before we get to that, Joel Embiid, 40-point double-double, fantastic work. Finishes the month off averaging 29 points, 8 rebounds, close to 9 boards, playing some really good basketball. 34, Derek said, in the last 7. Just putting the team on his back tonight to make sure that they beat this Pelican squad.
Yeah, and we had a pretty fun, or pretty surprising, I should say, detour during Joel Embiid's post-game availability. I was asking him about, this is the first 40-point game in the regular season you've had in 2 years since you dropped 70 on Wemby. Like, are you still surprising yourself with these milestones and these big performances? And he said, honestly, this year was sort of a tryout year for me, that this was, we had to figure out, what is the plan? What is the process? How does this all come together for me to be my best self, to be on the floor as much as possible? And then he went out of his way to, I know Dr. Glashow has gotten all the shine. He specifically called out Simon Rice, who essentially is their head of medical internally for the Sixers, and said, he's the guy who always believed in me. He's the guy who always came to me and said, what can I do? What can we try? How many different ways can we go about this? And like stayed with him on it, and never shouted Joel down, never told him his body was wrong. And according to Joel, said, like, I'm here to do whatever it takes to get you back to where you need to go. And so Joel, in the process of giving him very vocal credit, goes, he'll never get the credit that he deserves. And it's like, well, if you say this, I think he will get the credit, Joel. So thank you to Simon Rice, and also thank you to Joel, who, to your point, Devon, 40-point game, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, all that stuff. Like, I didn't even think that was that great of a game for Joel. He had a middle stretch where I was like, it's a little too much Joel all the time. But the fact that we can complain about, hey, they're giving it to him too much, and he scored 40, what a great place to be in compared to the beginning of the year, and certainly last year.
Quickly here before Derek jumps in, we got some breaking news that we want to share with you on here, and that is Shams breaking the news that the Cleveland Cavaliers are trading DeAndre Hunter to the Sacramento Kings for Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis, and it's a 3-team deal with the Chicago Bulls acquiring Dario Saric from the Kings. So DeAndre Hunter going to the local product, going to Sacramento. Cleveland picking up some backcourt help in Cleveland as they get ready to make their push for better seeding in the Eastern Conference.
So I want to shout out my guy, Mike Scotto, who has been all on top of this. He had all the details of this lined up. I think it was either yesterday or 2 days ago. Yep. So the smoke has been out there. Very brief tenure in Cleveland for DeAndre Hunter. Pretty disappointing stretch there for him. But also, main acquisition is a guard. Like, I like Keon Ellis, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what the vision is there with Mitchell Garland and him. I guess you had a more defensive-minded guy into that backcourt.
Yeah. All right, I guess going back to our roster dilemmas. Obviously Kelly had a huge game. Walker got back in the rotation. Barlow got back in the starting lineup. What did you make from the forwards who will be assuming a lot of Kelly's workload, or Paul's workload?
So, I thought Watford gave them decent minutes tonight. I think for me, the tricky part with Watford is they give him the ball a lot when he's on the floor, and I just would rather VJ and McCain, and certainly Maxey, be the guys running the offense, especially as McCain gets going here. I want to see more of these 3-guard looks, space the floor out. The 2-man game between McCain and Embiid was a big subject post-game tonight, talking about the success they had late in the game. But I do think they're going to lean on Watford. And Tyrese Maxey said after the game that when he found out about the Paul George news, Watford, Justin Edwards, and McCain were 3 guys that he specifically went to, and he said, you guys need to be ready for your opportunity right now, because the door is open for new guys to get involved in the rotation, fight their way back into the mix for minutes and real chances here. So I think Watford handled it well. Look, Barlow has been good, rock solid all year. Walker, the same to a lesser extent. I just don't know how Nurse is going to attack this necessarily. I think when they tried to go more traditional power forward and you're playing Kelly Oubre as well, we saw the Pelicans play like box and one on Maxey tonight, and they just dared everybody else to try to shoot over them, and they were going to be happy if Barlow's launching corner threes. That to me is going to be the key. How do you find the right lineup combinations and find some plays that work so it's not just forcing the ball out of Maxey's hands when they go to backup groups?
Kyle, we had talked about the unsung hero tonight being Jared McCain because his shot was on tonight and how important the outside shooting is going to be now without Paul George. So just simply good for him to, during this stretch here, where 3 of the last 4 now, he's had some good shooting nights, and hope that this can carry as they go on the road trip out west.
Yeah, I think it's as simple as he got one good shooting night under his belt, and he's been able to ride that momentum. Tyrese was at the podium talking about how they're in his ear, like, we need you to pull more. We need you when you're coming off of screens, like you did on the DHO with Embiid in the fourth quarter tonight, where he hits a 3. They trust him and they believe in him to take and make that shot. And so they're trying to, continually build his confidence. And Maxey talked about being proud about the fact that he went through a really tough stretch there for a while. And that's not to say that that's over. I think you can still see that at times he's trying to get downhill or he's trying to do something physically that is not quite there yet. But I think as long as he is stepping confidently into threes, making smart decisions with the basketball as a passer, and doing the things that Jared McCain does, they'll live with the ups and downs. I think the key is going to be Nurse might have to trust him a little bit more than he has recently. And even tonight, this was not a outsized role tonight. I think what tonight showed you is that Quentin Grimes might be on a slightly smaller leash because he didn't get a ton of tick compared to the average Quentin Grimes game. Maybe some of that's the return from injury. We'll have to wait and see. But I think it's going to be a situational thing for a lot of these guys. You have the top of the rotation, and then it's a whole lot of musical chairs outside of that. Good job by Jared tonight to put his name firmly back in the mix.
And then the other guy, VJ, he might not be the guy who's necessarily going to get more minutes, but he's probably going to have more of an opportunity. I think maybe through the first 3 quarters or so, I thought maybe he could have been a little bit more aggressive looking to score on his own, but I thought he also made some really nice passes. What did you make of his game tonight?
So the outstanding passing game, I thought, and I talked with Nurse about his performance after the game, and Nurse spotlighted the play where it got batted out. The ball gets batted out to like half court or so. VJ tracks it down. It's got like 8 seconds on the shot clock. And because there's not a lot of time, he just gets into, I got to attack. He goes downhill. He up fakes on Trey Murphy, draws the foul, and 1. And Nick's like, we're going to show him plays like that. And we do show him plays like that to say, you can beat guys one-on-one. You can get into your stuff early in the offense. You have to be aggressive. And they don't want to take away the playmaking and the unselfishness in that way. But there are times where they need him to put his foot down and just drive at somebody. He said, especially in like 4-on-4s in transition, try to get to the rim, like make a real point to get downhill, get to the paint. And if you have an opportunity to score, do so. If not, he's such a threat to dunk on somebody, and people are so scared of that athleticism. He's going to get extra help thrown at him, and he's probably going to have an open shooter with him. So I think they're constantly in VJ's ear. You need to keep going, keep the foot on the gas. Don't let these guys get away with playing off of you. So I thought it was a really good game for him, even if it was an understated one. But it does show, like, even a night where he scores 15 and 5 assists and whatnot, where like there's more there to be had, especially with Paul George out of the lineup.
We are heading to overtime here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. We thank everyone for hanging out with us here tonight as we sit here with you following a Sixers win, Sixers 10-point victory over the New Orleans Pelicans. We'll be back with you on Monday ahead of the Sixers and the Los Angeles Clippers. Monday start time, I believe, is 10 o'clock. So we'll be with you at 9:30. Kyle, as you talk about VJ Edgecombe, you and Derek talk about VJ Edgecombe, and we kind of reflect on the Sixers 2000-2001 team. he had a play where it made me think of, I know you guys remember game 1 overtime victory. Iverson cross-court snap pass to Aaron McKee in transition, left corner, left wing 3. And I immediately had a flashback when he did that to Kelly Oubre in the first quarter. And it was just one of those things that just jumped in my mind because he could have gone downhill. He could have attacked the basket. But a 20-year-old rookie making the right play like that to locate his teammate that had a wide open three-pointer, even though it was cross-court, it was on a rope to him in a similar fashion as that Iverson to McKee pass was in 0-1. And that jumped out immediately to me as that play had happened. So just continues to make the right decision on a lot of these plays out there for a young guard.
Big time, Devon. And I think with VJ, and frankly, a bunch of the guards tonight, I thought they had some really nice transition offense sequences where it was like VJ hits a hit ahead, Maxey hits Barlow, Barlow's got a wide open dunk, or the play you're talking about, he hits Oubre for that one. Like a lot of nice, instead of doing all the work of dribbling the ball travels faster than you can. And it's just a quick, everybody gets up the floor. You have a bunch of athletes, you have some guys who can put it on the deck. In fact, everybody except for maybe a Dembona that played tonight can put it on the deck. I'm sure you were in the studio tearing your hair out and yelling like I was watching those sequences tonight. But yeah, like look, he shows a lot of poise and a lot of maturity, game intelligence for a kid who's only 20 years old. And so you think about that in year 1 and dream about what might be in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road.
All right, this is the last one from me, and I desperately need the right answer on this. Very first play of the game, VJ brings the ball up. They run Tyrese through an Iverson cut for his first bucket. Was there any indication that was an intentional callback with the play's namesake sitting there being celebrated courtside?
So I have some great news for you, Derek.
Okay.
After Nick Nurse's press conference was over, I stopped him and I specifically said, hey, I have a real quick one for you. First play of the game, you run an Iverson cut. Was that intentional? And he was like half walking out the door, but prior to that, he stops dead in his tracks, looks back, and is like, that was very much intentional.
Thank you.
Ran the Iverson cut to get that layup, and Maxey was coming in at the time, and he goes, and if Tyrese had missed that layup, I would have been really upset. And Tyrese goes, but I didn't miss that layup. So thankfully, the tribute to Allen Iverson on the tribute to the 0-1 team night went off without a hitch. So yes,
perfect.
The Iverson cut that we all recognized in real time was in fact a little tribute from Nick Nurse and the Sixers.
So with that, we got to ask you, Derek gave his thoughts of being in the arena, experiencing it in the building. Your experience watching the reunion celebration for the 0-1 team.
It's really cool. I've said on our show many times, it was the team that got me into basketball, just watching them play as hard as they did, as fast as they did. They're full court pressing teams. They're playing 3 and 4 guard lineups at times. They get to Dikembe Mutombo, and at the time, I'm thinking, oh my God, that's a championship. This guy has won 1 million Defensive Player of the Year awards. I'm not thinking so much about Shaq. I'm just thinking about the team that I'm following added this great player. And I will say, by the way, Dikembe's family, I believe it was his daughter and maybe his wife were there, and they got a really, really warm reception, which was very cool. Obviously, the late, great Dikembe Mutombo. So seeing all these guys together in the same building, Pat Croce's just crazy energy everywhere, like from the presser that Derek and I were both at to him ringing the bell. Billy King was up here. People might have their own feelings about him, but no, he's very good-spirited about everything. He even gave North Carolina a bit of credit for George Lynch. I never thought I'd see the day from a Duke guy. So, yeah, I thought the energy in the building was great. And I think whenever you have a team come back like that, and they didn't even win a championship, and you put them in front of a team that's playing now, to me, I just have to think that that's something that you look at and say, man, if we were to ever win something in this locker room, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, VJ Edgecombe, all these guys, like, look at what you can be to this town. You play the right way, you achieve your team goals. Like those guys are immortal for winning a single game in the finals. Imagine what a championship would do. So it's a cool tribute, and I hope that it's motivation to these guys to go out and accomplish some things themselves.